Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard, so please be with you here on African Diaspora News Channel. Be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. This lets other folks know that we're here, and it increases our voices. And by the way, speaking about increasing and expanding our voices, beloved, did you know we have our own app? Yes, African Diaspora News Channel. We have our own app. We're so excited about it. Beloved, this puts us on the map in a whole different way. It expands our voice. It's our own individual platform. It gives you access, and we can continue to be a formidable force in the media arena for you. Beloved, be sure to download it and be sure to tell everybody you know about it. I think you're going to love it. Thank you so very much, family. As many of you may know, have been known here on this network to do back-to-back coverage about the goings-on, legislation, codifications, and different rules and policies that the United States government implements, mostly undercover and in private, where the public and mainstream media barely or ever covers these types of topics, to let you all know about the plans that she makes for the planet, quite literally. In a hearing that they did a few weeks back, I discussed some parts of it already. The name of this hearing from the House Foreign Affairs Committee, okay? This is a legit hearing that the United States House Foreign Affairs Committee held. It was titled "The Sahel in Crisis, Examining U.S. Policy Options." During this particular hearing, U.S. Congressman McCaul starts to talk about Prigozhin, who was with the Wagner Group, the Russian Wagner Group, and of course, the United States and her Western allies are hyperventilating and freaking out about the fact that these different forces are on the continent. It is my belief, based on information and belief, that the United States is concerned about the presence of these soldiers working in tandem with military leaders and hunters and so forth, is because the United States knows that she and her Western allies are responsible, credibly alleged to have sponsored and created some of these terrorist organizations as a justification and a cover to remain on the continent. Talk black to me, somebody. So with that being said, I want you to watch this clip. And it was about an hour and a half or so long hearing that I watched. I want you to watch Congressman McCaul question, him being concerned about just how sophisticated those African Sahel Junta leaders are. Watch this.
Are you concerned about, when I chaired the Homeland Security Committee, it was during the rise of ISIS and the caliphate. Are you worried about that phenomenon happening in the Sahel right now, and how sophisticated could they be in terms of external operations?
One of the reasons why we have had a long-standing security cooperation relationship with the Nigerian armed forces was exactly because of the concern that control of territory, freedom to operate, could create a even more complicated situation if the ISIS forces and the JNIM forces in the region believe they then have the ability to operate externally. And it's the reason why we need to continue to work with those partners that we can work with to counter that.
Have you seen any designs or plans of them to aspire to external attacks, or is it just more focused on in the Sahel?
At this point, the focus of those groups is assessed to be in the Sahel.
Okay, first of all, before I say more, please know that your congresspersons who are responsible for the creation of the U.S. government statutes and laws, they have to speak in code when they're trying to induce a particular statement. These hearings are not only for the world to watch so that the world feels threatened that the United States is watching them and have plans for them. But when they do these hearings, they're doing these hearings also in order to justify cooperation with other intergovernmental agencies. When they want to continue to fund a particular thing or to begin to strategize new legislation, they have to have the cooperation of these interagencies individuals. So please understand. So when they're doing this, they just can't come straight out and say, look, we want to continue to keep an illegal presence on the continent. We want you there as spies. We want you to infiltrate, propagandize, and continue to terrorize these nations so that we can continue to stay on the planet and extract and exploit their resources. They have to speak in code. They have to look real patriotic, real distinguished. They have to come up with an official name, the Sahel in crisis, examining U.S. policy options. They have to use phrases such as, "You're just how sophisticated do you think they actually are?" And in the second clip, he says about something along the lines of, "Do you think that their actions is just restricted to that particular area?" In his heart, he's saying, God forbid they actually become so outraged that they can actually have an effect outside of that little region in which we're trying to control and keep them contained. Did you catch that? I got to help interpret what's really going on here. We can't be tricked by the political embellishments. This is interesting, yes. So the military hunters and the so-called coup leaders, military leaders, they are bothering the U.S., right? They worry. America only meant to worry about China and Russia and Iran and other such nations in terms of their military capacities. The last thing in the whole wide world they want to be worried about is effective military and an effective military capacity from Africans. They want you to stay squabbling and worried about corruption amongst one or two of your leaders that they control. They want to keep infighting going as their main warfare strategy tactic so that they never have to worry about you becoming developed, having time to actually develop your country, thus becoming a formidable force against them that's considered to be so-called developed countries. They're openly worrying about this out loud because they want to be sure to keep you contained. And they keep whining about the presence of Russia there because they know that Russia might help to kick them out. Now, I want to remind you and read, I've shown you in other previous broadcasts I've done. Be sure to pull those up from many, many months back, all through last year, 2023. Check out anything I've done because I'm talking about in some of those cases and giving you credible receipts, quoting credible individuals that say that the United States is the ones and her Western allies in many cases that sponsor and often create these terrorist organizations. Now, we know that the United States, one of their arch enemies is Iran, but let me tell you one of the many reasons why they don't want you, the African continent, connecting with Iran. And I want to say this in the wake that, by the way, did you all know that South Africa just recently signed some bilateral deals with Iran, but I'm gonna leave that alone for now. I've discussed that before some weeks and months back. Well, I'm reminded in this piece from some years ago, this piece is from the CNN, where even the headline says Iran blames the U.S. for creating ISIS amid worsening Middle East tensions. Now, when the average American would read that headline, especially in 2017, they would immediately dismiss it. But I have given you excerpts from foreign heads, foreign officials that went to the UN, like in Mali, that expressed the fact that they reported France for sponsoring terrorism. They reported it to the UN Security Council. And by the way, France sits on the UN Security Council. And they talked about when they reported it, that previous August in 2022, before they did their address at the UN General Assembly in 2023. Remember that? How come that's not making major headlines where mainstream media is covering the fact that a government official who spoke at the UN provided credible receipts and reminded them that they had already reported one of America's allies for sponsoring terrorism? Why is it when our brother Captain Traore of Burkina Faso conducts effective anti-terrorism strategies, you're not hearing across mainstream news congratulations to these hunters for shutting down terrorism? You're hearing the West and the United States. You're seeing them becoming more anxious. And you see them amplifying propaganda against them because they're creating these terrorist organizations. As Iran said some years ago, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has blamed the U.S. for creating ISIS and fostering instability in the Middle East amid an ongoing crisis in the region. That the U.S. arms, and this is a quote from him, a terrorist group is what causes instability, Khamenei wrote on Twitter Monday. Who created ISIS? The U.S. He added that while the U.S. President Donald Trump accuses Iran of supporting terrorism, this is a quote, terrorism in this region has American roots. Now, we automatically throw these types of allegations away because the U.S. paints this picture of their enemies in a diabolical and a deleterious manner so that it don't matter even if they tell us the truth because you made them the enemy. It doesn't matter. Anything that come out their mouth is just automatically dismissed. But we're hearing from credible Black scholars and Pan-Africanists, as well as heads of state, they're saying, no, there's some truth to this. I provided you with the broadcast some months back, about how Mali busted with receipts an American security company operating in that region that they were supposed to left long time ago. What is really going on? I think we know. Talk black to me, somebody. So the United States is worried about your military prowess. They don't want the Sahel to become, you're the last ones that they need to be worried about on the level of China and Russia. See, what makes a country dangerous to the United States is not just because of your resources and the fact that we don't have all of them, and so we have to keep a foothold and control you and bully you and build bases there to police it. We got to make sure that you never are in a position to protect it. People that have the ability to protect their resources are the ones that are most dangerous to the United States. So before you could ever get to that level, they cause division and destruction. So when you say, get out of here, when you say, bye, United States, bye, friends, get out of here, take your soldiers out of here, when you tell the pernicious UN folks to get out of there, they get upset and they fight because the powers that shouldn't be know that they're behind it. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it, but we own it. We are on it, beloved. And we will surely ultimately win. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it's certainly possible. My name is Vicki Dillard, beloved. Be sure to check out my website at VickiPlanet.com. That's VICKI Planet.com. I can't wait to see you again.